This is a little bit about my background. Obviously, I'm not going to read through this and bore you with it. You're more than welcome to take a look at that. But I started as a high school teacher, and in the summers I worked minor league baseball. Then I was lucky enough to get hired at a elite sports medicine clinic and was kind of mentored by one of the better sports medicine physicians in the country. And then I was very lucky to get the head athletic training job for the Seattle Mariners, which I held for 35 years. Along the way, I worked a lot of professional rodeo, did a lot of other events, road races and things, always stayed involved, was involved in a lot of different sports. Okay, I'd like to kind of walk you through a couple of case studies. And the reason that I did this is I think it's important to show the different ways that you can use BioWave. You can use them in somebody who's basically healthy to get better recovery before their next outing. You can use it for somebody who's had a surgery, and you can use it with people who have chronic and or acute injuries. But this first case study was a 34-year-old starting pitcher. He'd been in the big leagues for 12 years. Luckily, he had never had surgery on either his shoulder or his elbow. He usually had post-game soreness, and then he would be sore the next day to the point that we would do certain exercises. We'd get him in a pool and do hydrotherapy workouts. And he just had a sore shoulder that was due to wear and tear. This guy was tremendous as far as his conditioning and his pregame arm care routine. Did a wonderful job, which is one of the reasons I think that he stayed healthy. And I had this guy for his entire career. And so we came up with a pregame treatment plan. And the pregame treatment plan consisted of using BioWave with our pad placements on the front of his back of his shoulder. And we'd put the BioWave on for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then we would put a hydroculator pad over the pad placement for 10 minutes. And he really liked that. He felt like that helped him warm up better. He said his shoulder warmed up better. He felt like he didn't have to throw as many pitches warming up. He felt considerably better doing that before he went out and started his warm up. After the game was over, he would come in and we would use BioWave on his shoulder with pad placement in the teres minor area, teres minor, and up in the front of his shoulder near the attachment of the supraspinatus and the bicep tendon. And we would put the pad placements there, and then we would utilize ice for 20 minutes. And then the next day when he came in, before he went and started his exercise routine, then we would do a BioWave treatment of 20 minutes using pad placement in the front and the back of his shoulder. And we started to do that the last 5 or 6 years of his career, because his career was winding down and more wear and tear after pitching that many years in the big leagues, plus his college career and his minor league career. But it just enabled him to continue to do his arm care routine. He felt like he got better muscle recovery, and it helped reduce the discomfort that he experienced. So we had a really good pregame treatment plan, postgame treatment plan, and then we follow that up the first day. And then when he would, most times in the major leagues and colleges, even high schools, they'll have a bullpen day in between their starts. It's part of their routine to stay sharp and work on their pitches and their command. Before he would throw his bullpen, which is usually the third day, he would come in and we would do a BioWave treatment, put the pad placement in the front and the back of his shoulder. And then the fourth day, we would do the same thing, and then we would restart our treatment plan. So he basically was using the BioWave 4 out of 5 days in between his starts. And like I'd mentioned, he bought his own unit, and he would go home and he would do treatments at home on his own, which is, I think, tremendous to be able to have a modality that's easy to use, that you can trust that they're going to use it properly. Because if you teach them how to use the equipment and the pad placement, they can do their own treatments. And he would take it on the airplanes. He would take it on the hotel, to the hotels after the games on the road. And so he used his own, and it really stimulated a lot of the players buying their own unit. And there's the smaller unit and the larger unit, but it was a very comforting feeling to be able to know that they're using a modality that you can trust and that you can teach them how to use it.